It never starts badly. It starts quietly. You meet someone, and something about them pulls you in. They're broken in a way that feels familiar. They're distant in a way that feels intriguing. They don't give you much, but what they give feels intense. At first, it feels like connection. Then it becomes effort. Then it becomes fixing. Then it becomes waiting. Then it becomes pain. And somehow, you stay. Not because you're weak, not because you're naive, but because part of you believes that if you try hard enough, if you love better, if you understand more, this relationship will finally become what it was supposed to be. And this is the part people don't understand. You're not attracted to toxic people because you enjoy suffering. You're not choosing chaos consciously. You're not seeking pain. You're responding to something deeper than preference, something older than logic, something learned before you had language for it. This isn't about bad taste in partners. It's about psychology, conditioning, attachment, nervous system memory. And once you see the pattern, you realize it's not random. Insecure attachment and trauma bonding. When love is inconsistent early in life, the nervous system adapts to unpredictability. Affection followed by withdrawal teaches the body to stay alert, not relaxed. As an adult, this creates attraction to people who feel emotionally unavailable, hot and cold, or difficult to read. Calm relationships don't register as love because they don't activate the same physiological response. Instead of safety, the body seeks stimulation. Anxiety becomes confused with chemistry, and intensity gets mistaken for depth. What feels like attraction is often the nervous system reacting to a familiar pattern of emotional instability. This conditioning doesn't disappear with age. It quietly shapes who feels exciting and who feels dull, long before conscious choice enters the picture. Attachment imprinting and learned familiarity. The brain is not wired to seek health. It is wired to seek familiarity. Whatever emotional environment you grew up in becomes the baseline your system recognizes as normal. If chaos, emotional neglect, addiction, or instability were present, those dynamics become imprinted as home. Later in life, relationships that mirror this emotional tone feel strangely comfortable, even when they cause distress. Healthy dynamics, by contrast, can feel empty or unsettling because they lack the emotional signals the brain associates with connection. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar peace, not because it's better, but because it's known. This is why people often leave stable relationships only to return to dysfunction that feels more emotionally alive. Core worth beliefs and self-concept. Low self-worth rarely announces itself loudly. More often, it shows up as quiet compromise. When someone does not believe they are deserving of consistent love, they begin to negotiate for it. They minimize their needs, rationalize mistreatment, and accept emotional inconsistency as normal. The internal belief isn't, "I don't deserve love," but "I shouldn't expect too much." As a result, red flags are noticed but ignored, and potential is valued more than behavior. The relationship becomes something to manage rather than something to experience. Self-concept quietly sets the ceiling for what someone believes they're allowed to receive. Intermittent reinforcement and dopamine conditioning. Inconsistent affection creates stronger emotional bonds than consistent care. This is not poetic language, it is behavioral psychology. When love, attention, or validation arrive unpredictably, the brain releases higher levels of dopamine, reinforcing attachment. The emotional relief that follows distance feels euphoric, creating a cycle of craving and reward. Over time, the nervous system becomes conditioned to seek the high rather than the connection. The relationship becomes addictive, not because of closeness, but because of the emotional contrast between deprivation and relief. What feels like passion is often a chemically reinforced stress response. repetition compulsion, and trauma reenactment. The mind has a tendency to repeat unresolved emotional experiences in an unconscious attempt to master them. This is known as repetition compulsion. People are drawn to partners who resemble early caregivers, not because they want to suffer, but because the psyche hopes for a different ending. An emotionally unavailable parent often leads to emotionally unavailable partners. A chaotic childhood leads to chaotic relationships. Each repetition carries the unconscious belief that this time love will finally be secured. Instead of healing the original wound, the pattern reopens it again and again. Codependency and the fawn response. In environments where love was conditional, many people learned to earn connection through usefulness. Over time, helping, fixing, and rescuing became associated with worth. In adult relationships, this manifests as codependency. Love becomes synonymous with sacrifice, and being needed feels like being valued. The fawn response, a trauma adaptation centered around appeasing others, drives overgiving and weak boundaries. The person becomes hyper-attuned to their partner's needs while remaining disconnected from their own. Care becomes a survival strategy rather than a mutual exchange. Pseudo-intimacy and boundary diffusion. Emotional closeness is often confused with emotional intimacy. Trauma bonding can create rapid emotional disclosure without stability, commitment, or reciprocity. One person shares deeply, unloads pain, or relies heavily on the other for emotional regulation. This creates a sense of closeness without actual relational investment. Boundaries blur, roles shift, and the listener mistakes emotional access for connection. The relationship feels deep, but it does not grow. What forms is not intimacy, but dependency wrapped in vulnerability. Without boundaries, emotional closeness becomes an illusion. So this isn't about bad luck, and it isn't about having a type. It's about patterns your nervous system learned long before you had a choice. Patterns that feel like attraction, patterns that feel like connection, patterns that quietly repeat until they're named. You don't fall for toxic people because you want pain. You fall because part of you learned that pain is familiar. And the moment you see that clearly, the question changes. Not, why do I keep meeting people like this, but what inside me keeps responding to it? If this resonated, say it. Which pattern felt uncomfortably familiar? Sometimes naming it is the first interruption. Comment below, which pattern did you recognize and when do you remember it starting? You don't have to explain it, just acknowledge it.